I ask for a quiet room. Lights sink low. A lamp throws a soft circle on the table. The air feels cool. The body loosens. The hands rest. The feet find the bed. I speak in a voice that stays steady. I speak so the heart can hear. Settle in a way that feels right. Close the lids if that helps. Rest the eyes under a soft shade. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a breath or two. Breathe out. And let a sigh go where it wants. I breathe with you. I keep my pace slow. The rhythm is calm. The rhythm is safe. Imagine a path. It is not far. It is a path worn by kindness. It leads to a gentle stream. The stream moves without hurry. Trees lean over it like keepers. The ground is warm under bare feet. This place is not distant. It is near. It visits at this hour. It carries the scent of bread and rain. Let that picture settle. I begin to read the sacred words as a lamp for the dark. I do not speak to argue. I do not weigh or wrestle. I bring these lines as a hand at the shoulder. They are steadiness for the night. They are mercy that arrives again. First, I lay down a simple thought. No matter the noise of the day, mercy is present. No matter the clutter of worry, assurance is close. You are not alone in the small hours. A presence walks with you, quiet and steady. You can lean on that presence for a while. Let the breathing match that thought. Inhale mercy. Exhale rest. Now I tell the story of a shepherd and a path that never runs dry. The image is soft. It is a guide more than a map. Follow it with the mind. Not with urgency. The shepherd keeps watch. Green pastures open where the feet can stop. Still waters wait. The heart finds pause. I listen to those scenes and let them press gently into the chest. When shadows gather, there is a lamp held close. A rod and a staff are not instruments of fear. They are tools of comfort. One points the way. One steadies the step. In the night, the company of this keeper makes the way feel safe. I walk that way in my words. I let the cadence slow even more. A soft step, a calm breath. The steps count out in even time. The night is long, but the company is faithful. Mistakes and worries do not vanish in a moment. They leave traces like footprints. Yet mercy follows, like a hand that erases the lines. Forgiveness moves behind so that the path brightens. Grace is not loud. It is the quiet work that returns light to the soles of the feet. The mind may return to old fears. Allow the hand of mercy to smooth the edges. Trust that the work continues while sleep comes. I invite a memory of a table set in the dark. Bread lies in the center. A cup rests near it. Even in a quiet room, there is a welcome. The table is not about abundance alone. It is about belonging. A host prepares the place. The very thought of a place with your name is enough to calm the restless pulse. Sit at that table in imagination. Taste a small piece of bread. Let its warmth spread along the jaw, down the throat. Let the cup be cool. Let it steady the hands. Enemies may crowd around in thought. They are not for the senses. They are thoughts that flicker like moths around a candle. A canopy of care shelters the mind. Blessings fall like soft light. Long life is a slow gift. Hope is a repeated song that returns at dawn. When feet are weary, the promise of rest speaks quietly. Hear that promise as a low hum under the breath. I speak of a refuge that withstands the storm. It is a quiet room with a strong door. Thunder may roll beyond its walls. The roof holds. The refuge is built by steady hands. It keeps out the wind. It does not ask for grand speech. It asks only for trust. In the hush of night, this refuge is close enough to touch. Imagine a cloak draped over shoulders. It does not weigh. It comforts. It carries the scent of home. Under that cloak, the shiver leaves the spine. Under that cloak, the chest expands with a long, easy inhalation. Let that image rest. Draw that breath now. I move to another place in these sacred songs. Here is the call to stillness. The world pushes and pulls, but a soft center remains. When the mind treads the same worn groove, invited to a quiet clearing. The clearing has room for the small, honest prayers. It hears the silent confession. It receives the unvoiced thanks. It keeps no tally. It only knows mercy. Fear can feel like a tight knot, so loosen one corner of it now. Notice how the hands unfold as worry eases. The fingertips find the sheet. The chest expands by a fingertip. I let the count slow. 1 breath in, 2 breaths out. The knot unthreads slowly. Patience guides the motion. The breaking open is gentle. I read of a shelter that protects through the night. It is not a promise of total absence of pain. Rather, it is the assurance of a presence that keeps watch. When sleep seems elusive, imagine that presence turning a small lamp toward the heart. The light is not harsh. It is the color of early dawn. It warms the margins. It steadies the line between wakefulness and the first sleep. Compassion lies at the core of these words. It meets the broken places first. It goes to the edges of fear. It touches the tender spots with a healing that is patient. In the hush of this hour, imagine compassion moving like a slow tide. It comes in and fills the hollows. Allow it to stay. Do not push it away with anxiety. There is comfort in names that do not change. No matter the twist of the day, the names remain constant. Mercy, kindness, guidance. They are simple words, but they hold weight. They settle like a quilt over the restless shoulders. Remember one name tonight. Hold on to that name as a small stone in the palm. It will not drop when sleep comes. I keep my voice soft. The words fall like slow rain. Each line is an invitation to rest. There is no hurry to understand everything. Let the images be enough. The shepherd, the table, the refuge, the cloak. Each picture draws the breath down a little further. Each picture opens a small place inside where sleep can grow. When anxious thoughts return, treat them like guests who will pass. Offer them a cup of kindness and a place to sit. Then gently guide them to the door. Let them go. Do not wrestle. Do not chase. The act of release is simple. Exhale and imagine the thought floating away on air. A promise of renewal is woven through these songs. Night pass, dawn will come. The assurance of new mornings is not remote. It touches now as soon as the breath slows. Even in the darkest hour, seeds of morning rest beneath the soil. Trust that morning's hand is already shaping the clay of the coming day. I name a small hope for you tonight, a soft pocket of calm, a rest that is not shallow, an offset to grief, a quiet place where peace steps forward. I do not force the shape of that hope. I only hold the space for it. Let the hope settle where it wishes. The words I speak are simple. They are like warm water poured over a tired hand. They do not fix everything. They bring warmth. They soothe. They remind the heart that it is seen. Even in the small hours, mercy walks with you. Hope leans near. Grace breathes beside you. Before I move on, take a slow scan from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. Release the jaw. Soften the brow. Drop the shoulders. Let the belly expand gently with each breath. Each part of the body that relaxes creates a deeper invitation to rest. I offer a short prayer in the space between these songs. Not a long speech, not a plea for proof. Simply a quiet request for rest and mercy. I ask that peace find you. I ask that the heart know the nearness of kindness. I ask on gentle behalf. The tone is low and steady. It is not a demand. It is a soft calling. As the prayer settles, I prepare to read more. The next lines will continue the same care. They will not press into doctrine. They will hold steady to mercy and hope. The pace will remain slow. The images will remain gentle. Stay where you are. Keep the eyes heavy. Let the lungs stay long. I leave a lamp burning in the imagination. It will guide the next passage. The path remains. The shepherd remains. The table remains. The cloak remains. All these are small anchors in the night. When it feels hard to hold on, return to one anchor. Let it steady the breath. This section ends with a quiet invitation to continue. Rest into the sound of the next passage. Allow it to wrap round like a blanket. When the voice comes again, it will drift back to the same simple promises. Mercy will continue to walk alongside. Hope will continue to beckon. The next part will linger on the softer phrases. It will hold the hand a little longer. For now, breathe in the memory of green pastures. Breathe out the tension of the day. Keep the rhythm slow. Keep the heart open. I will return with more lines that hold the same steady light. The night is not empty. The night is small and guarded. Sleep is a gentle guest. Let it come. I begin with a small request. If this time together brings you rest, stay with it. If it eases the chest or calms the mind, tell others. Subscribe so the next hour finds you here. Leave a quiet note if you wish. Share this path with your circle. A small act spreads a kind light. Set a gentle aim now. Name one thing you bring into this hour. Forgiveness, grace, peace. Say the names softly in the mind. Let it be your quiet intention. This is a time to give those things space to grow. Hold, no demand. Hold only a wish. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out slowly. Settle into the mattress. Let the limbs find rest. The room keeps still. The soft lamp stays near. I read the sacred lines for company. I read them to soothe. I read them to lead. I speak now the first 2 lines of Psalm 23. The words are simple and solid. They are like a small hand on the shoulder. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. Hear the rhythm. Hear the promise. The word shepherd holds many gestures. It holds care. It holds attention. It holds direction that is gentle. I imagine a figure who watches the edges of the field. The figure knows each sheep by name. The figure notices a small limp before the animal shows it. The figure changes the course so that pain has a softer path. I ask you to imagine the same care toward yourself. Imagine someone who has prepared a place to rest. The meadow is smooth and long. The grass is soft where you press. There is a low hum of crickets at the border. The light is warm, but not bright. A breeze moves just enough to stir the hair on the arm. Lie down now, in that meadow. Feel the slow give of the ground. The body does not need to carry the day any longer. Muscle lego. The jaw loosens. The shoulders unbunch. The breath finds its own easy measure. Stay with this sensation. Let it occupy the center of attention. Notice the scent. It is earth and rain and a hint of sweet herbs. The air tastes like a quiet. The sky above is wide. Clouds drift like wool. The sun leans toward evening. Nothing presses in from outside. This is a small, safe expanse of time. The line about still waters asks for a different sense. Close the eyes and imagine a pool. It is round and deep. The surface is calm. No ripples cross it. The water reflects the color of a late sky. When you breathe, the reflection trembles slightly and then smooths again. A few stones sit cold at the edge. A single leaf drifts slowly and settles. When I say still waters, think of the part of the mind that can quiet. It is a place free from sharp edges. It does not require solving. It simply receives and lets go. Let the breath mimic the water. Inhale. Watch the surface rise. Exhale. Watch it settle back. The pace is slow. The pace is kind. There is gentleness in provision. I shall not want means that necessary things come. It does not promise abundance beyond reason. It promises enough to rest. Think of a small basket. Inside it, bread that is warm, a little water that is cool, a folded cloak. The basket sits within reach. When the night presses, these things are near. They are not far away. They will meet the need. Forgiveness fits into that basket. It is not heavy. It is not loud. It sits like a soft cloth. Invite forgiveness to be present. See it smoothing the crease of regret. It does not erase memory. It soothes the sting. It permits sleep to come without the sharpness of blame. Grace is like the breeze that keeps the air moving without cold. It passes through and leaves things calmer. It is not earned in this moment. It is a gift you can accept by breathing. Place a hand on the chest. Feel its warmth. Let grace rest there. Peace comes as a quiet between two heartbeats. It is a small interval. Notice the space between inhale and exhale. That gap is the doorstep of peace. Step toward it slowly. Stay long enough to hear the hush. The shepherd leads. Leading is not dragging. Leading is walking slowly ahead with attention for each step. The path is worn by many feet that needed rest. It turns only when the route is safe. It pauses when the traveler needs to look around. Imagine being guided like this. Imagine someone walking in front who senses every stumbling place and points the foot to softer ground. When your thoughts want to rush, imagine that hand at the back of the neck, guiding the head downward. Let the rush slow. Let the mind lower itself like a veil. There is no need to chase every fleeting worry tonight. Allow a few to sit at the edge of the field like stones. They remain. They are not command. The images help, but the feeling is the heart of the matter. That feeling is trust in a care that notices small things. It notices when a breath is too shallow. It notices when the eyes do not stay closed. It notices when the hands hold tightly. The care leans in and remakes the rhythm. I keep my voice even and soft. The syllables are measured. Each line invites the senses to a slower rule. Look inward. Watch the pulse under the wrist. Count 3 slow beats. Let each beat be a small bell. The bell rings and then quiets. Space follows. Bring to mind one small regret from the day. Do not widen the view into a litany. Take only one and place it on a flat stone by the water. Watch a light breeze carry a leaf over it. Notice that the regret stays, but its edges soften. Say the word forgiveness like a quiet benediction. Let it pass over the regret without demand. Invite kindness toward yourself. It may feel odd at first. Treat it like a warm cloth placed over the hands. It rests and then warms. The chest expands a degree. The jaw unclenches. A minor forgiveness goes a long way tonight. Now I pause to remind you gently. If these moments help, consider a small action. Subscribe to find the next hour waiting. Leave a soft note if the voice eased the mind. Share this with those who need a place to rest. A community of quiet hearts multiplies the calm. The act of sharing asks only that you take one small step. I say this as a quiet request. Nod at the man. Return to the meadow. Feel the sunlight slide down the neck. The pattern of the grass draws a slow line beneath the back. Imagine a small, steady shepherd near the head. The shepherd arranges a pillow of folded cloak. There is no hurry. The shepherd waits until you are settled. When lashes feel heavy, allow them to fall. They close like curtains on a gentle room. See the world dim behind them. The thoughts that wander will travel on soft paths. Some will return. None will require action now. The still waters hold another small truth. Reflection need not be sharp. Sometimes seeing the face of worry in the water is all that is necessary. It can float and then dissolve in the deep. Let the mind be like that pool. Let the surface reflect and then smooth. Nothing here forces revelation. It only shows. Consider the shepherd's staff as a symbol, not an instrument of sternness. It is a length of wood that finds the hollow and helps the foot. It presses into the ground at a thoughtful pace. Its purpose is steadiness. Picture it laid across the lap for warmth. Picture it used to measure the depth of the stream before crossing. Its presence assures caution, with care. In this hour, mercy steps lightly. Mercy does not shout. Mercy tends the small injuries first. It approaches the places where sleep is hardest. It speaks in the softest possible tone. Hear that tone as the next breath in and out. If tears come, allow them. Tears are not a failure. They are another kind of breathing. Let them travel like raindrops down a window. They fall. They do not impede the counsel of rest. They cleanse without drama. The shepherd folds a dry cloth and gently touches the cheek. Imagine waking tomorrow with a little less weight. The shift may be tiny. It may barely be noticed, yet it matters. It changes the way the shoulder carries the day. Think of smallness as the measure. A single good breath tonight ripples into the morning. Keep the intention you named at the start close. Forgiveness, grace, peace. Repeat the words once or twice in the silence. Do not press them into explanation. Let them be like seeds placed in prepared soil. The soil does not demand movement. It only holds and nurtures. I read the lines again. Softly. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. Let each phrase be a small step deeper into rest. Do not rush the cadence. Let the meaning sink with each inhalation and exhalation. Listen to the body now. It gives small counsel. The eyelids droop. The fingers loosen. The toes uncurl. Follow those signals. The mind can rest even when tasks remain. It is allowed to set them aside for now. There is no need to solve every worry tonight. Place them beside the path in the meadow. The shepherd will keep an eye on them until morning. Trust that a watching care remains even as the mind softens. I will not press doctrine or argument. I offer only these pictures and this quiet voice. The night is meant to cradle, not to contend. Allow the words to be balm, not a burden. Let them be a steady presence at the edges of sleep. As the eyelids finally close, know that this hour continues with or without sound. The images persist like a low ember. They provide warmth. They do not demand attention. You drift where you need to. I pause now with a gentle promise. The next passage will return to the same slow light. It will linger on assurance and kindness. It will carry the same intention of forgiveness, grace, and peace. I will keep this pace. I will keep the voice soft. When it begins again, you will find the same lamp lit. For now, settle deeper into the meadow. Feel the cloak around the shoulders. Let the steady breath move the chest like the tide. Rest into the knowledge of being led and tended. Let the still water hold the reflection of the day, and let it go. Sleep comes like a small guest. Meet it kindly. I leave a soft sound in the mind, like a closing door on a safe room. When the voice returns, it will open the door again with the same gentleness. For tonight, rest. Trust the shepherd. Trust the slow path. Trust the waters. Peace rests here. I lower my voice and the room grows softer. The lamp keeps a small circle of light. My breath stays even. I speak as one who reads before a bed is made, as one who offers a final closeness. Tonight I move from the image of a field into the work of a keeper. The shepherd is not only a picture. The shepherd is practice. Think of guidance as small, careful acts. A hand that steadies a shoulder. A foot that tests the ground before the other steps. The keeper knows the names of rocks that hide roots. The keeper knows where the wind will push the leaf. Guidance is not a grand map unfolded with sharp lines. It is a slow attention that notices where the foot trips and makes a softer way. It notices when the heart tightens and puts a calm word there, almost without sound. Provision happens in simple ways. A pocket of food left under a bush, a cloak placed over shoulders, a small bowl warmed by coals. The shepherd does not carry everything at once. The shepherd carries what is needed now. The kind of abundance offered here is enough for the night. It is the bread offered when hands are empty. It is the quiet cup that cools the throat. It is the soft fabric that covers shivering shoulders. This provision shows up in the temperature of a room, in a light that does not glare, in a silence that holds rather than critics. I often tell myself that guidance arrives quietly. It walks in on ordinary feet. Once, years ago, I believe I lost the path. It was not a dramatic vanishing. It was a small drift. I follow a road because I think it will lead to a brief rest. The sky is low. The day has been long. The map I hold is folded the same way as always. I make a turn by habit. The trees tighten around the road. The light thins. The markings on the map confuse at the bend. The signposts are small and grown with moss. A kind of panic sits in the chest like a fist. Plans feel brittle. The mind begins to spin possibilities like loose coins. For a while, I try to reason my way out. I check the sun. I compare the map. I call out to no one in particular. Answers do not come. The footsteps thin. The air tastes like dust and an old storm. The road divides, then divides again. The choices feel sharper, as if each could send me further from where I meant to be. Then something gentle alters the scene. A small sound comes from a gate, a scrape, and the faint clink of metal. A figure appears briefly and hums a tune that does not belong to the map. The tune is not loud. It is not even meant for me, yet it anchors the ear. A dog lifts its head in the yard. A child on the porch draws a picture on a scrap of paper and offers it to the wind. Nothing indicates direction. But the smallness of these acts breaks the thickening of fear. Presence cuts through the looping thoughts. A neighbor leans out, nods, and points not with certainty, but with the ease of someone who knows the lanes. By the way, the moss embraces the stones. The nod carries no sermon. It carries information enough. I follow that nod. The path turns where it would not have. The tilt of a roof gives a new horizon. The air shifts. The way opens because someone else's ordinary movement allows it Guidance sometimes wears no badge. It wears a familiarity, the kind that remembers the turning of a tree each season. Help arrives as bread in a hand, as a lifted lantern, as a whisper of a song in a doorway. In that hour, I learn that being lost is not the end of the story. Being found often begins with a neighbor's small attention. This memory keeps me humble. It teaches that guidance is relational. It is not only doctrine or instruction. It is the smell of bread, the warmth of a past cloak, the soft word when the throat tightens. It is the steadiness of someone who walks with the slow willingness to bend for broken things and to pick up what scattering minds drop. All the metaphors of shepherding are not only pictures, they become lived patterns. They show how care looks when it moves across the ordinary textures of life. In the course of the night, I return to a phrase that holds a steady light. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. I read it aloud and let the syllables sink. I do not explain the words. I place them like a small stone in the palm. Feel its weight. Feel its coolness. That phrase stands for a shelter that is not fragile. It is a place that resists the battering of fear and fatigue. The shelter rests not on dramatic triumphalism, but on the simple promise of being near. Refuge is not a fortress you scale. It is a room you step into when the rain starts. It is the quiet corner of a kitchen where tea steams and the wood stove hums. It is the soft chair that takes your shape. When trouble comes, whether a fear that tightens the chest or a sorrow that presses like a pillow, refuge receives it without astonishment. It does not demand that trouble be less. It holds the trouble and, by holding, makes space for breath. Strength, there is not the loud bristling of power. It is the steady posture that keeps watch at night. It is the warmth that does not flinch. Strength, in these words, appears as a presence that steadies hands, straightens the spine, and makes a small path where none seems possible. It is the hand that steadies the knee when it trembles. It is the quiet voice that names the truth without scolding the weakness. The two, refuge and strength, meet in the small acts that let brokenness be tended and tiredness be relieved. I invite you to rest in the notion of presence. Presence does not mean every question is answered. Presence means the room smells of bread even when hunger is loud. Presence means the light at the window does not flicker out when darkness presses. Imagine leaning against a wall that will not give way. Imagine a shade pulled over the eyes that cools the heat of worry. Let the breath find that steady posture. In the hush, I fold a short practice into the hour. There is nothing complicated here. Close the eyes and feel the weight of the eyelids. Put the hand over whatever is weary. Name one small thing aloud in the mind that needs help tonight. It can be a single fear. It can be a tiny regret. Do not list. Do not argue. Offer that one thing to the sense of refuge, like placing it on a low table. Watch in imagination as the room holds it. Then breathe slowly and allow the fact of being held to be enough. My voice keeps low. The pace is even. I do not press theology or argument. I stay with the warmth of image and the calm of steady presence. The songs and pictures of a keeper and a refuge are not there to debate. They are there to soothe and to remind. The mind does not have to solve its troubles to be rested. It only needs a safe place to be quiet for a while. I remember another evening when refuge showed itself in the smallest of things. I arrive at a house after a long day. The hands are raw with many tasks. The shoulders carry a little too much. At the door, an old friend sets a single cup on the table and pours something warm into it. The cup is not full of answers. It is full of something that allows the hands to relax. We sit without speaking. The quiet says more than words. This is a kind of shelter. This small act of hospitality becomes a bulwark against the weariness that calls itself final. There is mercy in these details. Mercy sometimes looks like a blanket that will not be asked to justify its softness. Mercy enters the room and sits down beside what ails. The very presence of mercy makes the breath less sharp. The lungs open differently. The mind perceives edges less violently. Keep this mercy as part of the night's furniture. Let it be tangible. Let it rest near the bed like a folded quilt. For a final pause, place attention on the rhythm of breathing. Feel each inhalation as a small gathering of strength. Feel each exhalation as a placement of worry into the place of refuge. The motion is slow and kind. With each cycle, the body learns again what it means to be supported. The heart remembers that help is near. As the moment closes, I leave a soft invitation. When the mind wanders into the darkness, recall the scene's small acts of guidance. A neighbor's nod, the furnace of refuge. The quiet cup, use them as small lanterns to find the next step. There is no hurry to understand everything this night. There is only the movement toward rest. I will come back with more lines and more soft pictures. The next passage will continue this careful tending. It will stay slow. It will keep asking nothing but the acceptance of rest. For now, let the image of a steady hand, a varmtsap, a door opened in the night, and a quiet rock of refuge be enough. Breathe into that sufficiency. Let sleep creep in like a patient visitor. The lamp remains on the table. The path waits. The keeper watches. I lower my voice until it is almost a whisper. The lamp keeps its small circle of light. Breath comes slow and steady. I hold this hour like a soft thing. I open the book and let the words fall in a tender line. When the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. The Lord is near to the broken-hearted and saves the crushed in spirit. I place those lines like a warm cloth over the room. I do not unpack them in long argument. I let them rest where ears can find them. The sentences invite the weary to lean in. They carry no demand. They offer a closeness that does not rattle the mind. Hear the phrase again in the hush. When the heart breaks, the sound of care draws near. When the spirit feels worn thin, help does not come as thunder. Help arrives like soft steps on a porch. It is present. It is steady. It is real in the smallness of the night. I think of strength not as loud armor. Strength here is a quiet presence by the bedside. It is a hand that steadies. It is a breath shared in the dark. It does not shout across the valley. It leans in and listens. Imagine that presence sitting for a long while. It does not hurry you to mend. It keeps the lamp lit. I tell a short memory, so you can touch this kind of nearness. Picture a winter evening. Snow sits hush and thick outside. A car door clicks and then closes. I come inside, tired and small with worry. The house smells faintly of lemon and old books. A letter sits folded on the table. The words in it carry a weight. The chest tightens. Breathing shortens. I do not know how to make the weight lighter. The phone rests silent. The world does not offer immediate answers. So I move to a quiet place in the house. A chair by the window takes the shape of my body. A thin blanket lays over the knees. The room is not crowded with people, but it is not empty. It holds a kind of company. I breathe slowly. Each inhale is careful. Each exhale is an offering. I let the psalm sit in the mind like a friend who does not rush to fix, but simply stays. The line about the Lord hearing carries like a hand across the shoulders. The heart knows it is not the only one listening. The sense of being heard eases the tightness. Just a little outside. Snow muffles sound. Inside. The lamp glows steady. I fold the letter away for a moment. I press the fingers to the palms and feel the warmth there. The thought that a presence is near does not untie every knot. It loosens some. I sleep later that night with the small weight duller. It is not gone. It rests in a place that does not press so sharply on the ribs. This is the kind of resilience I mean. It grows in the room where presence is constant. It is not a sudden lifting. It is a slow remaking of the breath. It builds when attention keeps coming back to the fact of not being alone. The night remains long, but the steps through it become steadier. I use the psalm to hold a practical image. Bring to mind a small bowl. Place in it one worry. It may be a word or two. Fold it quietly and put the bowl on the table near you. Imagine the bowl warmed by a lamp. The warmth does not take the worry away. It changes its shape so that it does not jab the chest. Watch the bowl sit there. Know that the presence of care is like that lamp. It keeps the worry from searing. When voices of doubt come, treat them as passing birds that dip by the window. They make a sound. They do not need to nest in the house. Let them fly on. Keep the lamp burning. Keep the bowl on the table. I ask you now to feel the weight of the hand where it rests. Place a palm gently over the place that aches. Allow the palm to be a small altar. Breathe into the area. Each breath is a small hymn. No words are required. The act of attention is its own prayer. The Lord is near as that attention focuses. It is not proof in a courtroom. It is comfort in a room. I tell another memory. Brief and true. A night comes when a friend calls with soft news. The voice is small and edged. They have stood too long under a heavy rain of decisions. I cannot walk their path for them. I cannot fix every choice. But I sit on the floor beside the couch and hold a mug of tea. I listen. I let silence have space. At one point, the breathing of both of us slows. The room breathes with us. The friend says little. They do not need to. The presence of being heard changes the direction of the night. I learn from those moments that strength arrives as company. It is a presence that respects limits. It does not flatten sorrow with quick words. It meets sorrow with the small acts of staying. The Lord in these verses does not hurry. The nearness is patient. It goes where pain is sharpest. It stays until the edges become softer. Do not mistake this for a promise that everything will be easy. The psalm does not pretend that trouble will disappear in a breath. It promises that help is present within the trouble. That is a different kind of saving. It is a saving that walks with the hurt, not away from it. It is a saving that catches the pieces when they slip. It is a saving that gathers the breath until a new rhythm can be found. I invite a simple exercise now. Close the eyes if that helps. Name one small brokenness aloud in the mind. Keep it narrow. Do not make a list. Let it be one thing. Big to a lantern. Place the lantern beside the brokenness. Watch its light bend toward the place that aches. The light does not erase. It shows the shape so care can reach it. Breathe there. Notice how the body relaxes by a degree. My voice waits at the edges of these images. It does not intrude. It rests with you. The room around us is soft. The lamp remains on the table. The pages of the book are warm from being touched. Each line of the psalm is like a stitch in a blanket. Each stitch is small. Together they hold. When the spirit feels crushed, imagine hands that open and receive the fragments without judgment. The hands are steady. They are not surprised. They move slowly. They make space. The act of being received is restorative. It steadies the pulse. It steadies the thought. I have watched this healing in others. 2. A neighbor learns that strength comes in cadence. A mother keeps vigil for a sick child and finds new patience with each small hour. A friend sits in a courthouse and hears news and does not fall apart because someone sits beside them with no bright solutions. Only quiet solidarity. These are the ways the Lord draws near. I do not promise an easy morning. I promise company in the midnight. I promise a hand on the shoulder when courage feels thin. I promise that cries are heard. The verses name this, not as theology but as a posture of nearness. Read them slowly. Let the cadence be a lullaby more than a lecture. If the heart resists these images, do not force them. Watch a single candle flame. Let the eyes find its line. The flame does not have to answer every thought. It only has to be steady. Keep the breath slow. Let the chest widen just enough to receive the pause. I offer a quiet pledge. When troubles clang like small pots, the voice here will stay low. I will return to these psalms as a place to rest. I will not press you with doctrine. I will present images that warm rather than cool. I will read lines that act as a hand, a lamp, a bowl. Now take a soft inventory. Feel the shoulders. Notice the jaw. Follow the breath to the belly and let it rise slowly. With each outward breath, imagine placing a small care into the bowl on the table. Watch it settle. Hear the psalm like a low bell in the room. The Lord is near to the broken-hearted. Repeat it once in the mind. Let the phrase land where it will. No need to argue with it. Let it be like a quilt placed over the shoulders. The quilt does not solve the cold in a single moment. It keeps the person warm enough to sleep. I close with a small assurance. The presence that hears and draws near stays longer than the sharpness of the crisis. It remains through the thin hours. It does not abandon the watch. The heart that learns this breathes differently. The resilience that grows is not brash. It is quiet and real. I will return with the next passage and more slow images. For now, rest into the nearness. Keep the lamplight as a marker. Keep the bowl by your side. Let the psalm be the small rhythm under your breathing. When sleep comes, let it find you held. I lower the book into my lap and let the lamp keep its steady circle. The room breathes with us. Me voice moves slow. I read the line and let it rest in the air. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. The words land like water. They do not demand an answer. They invite a stilling. I do not lecture. I offer the verse as a small prayer spoken aloud for company before sleep. Hear me now. You are not required to fix everything tonight. The night asks only for honesty and a small opening. A clean heart is not a sudden miracle. It is a quiet making. A right spirit is not a sharp correction. It is a gentle turning back to calm. When I read these lines, I imagine a slow hand washing a stone. The stone is not scrubbed hard. Soap is not needed. Warm water moves in small circles. The film on the surface lifts and drifts away. The color of the stone becomes visible again. That is the gentle work of renewal, I mean. It is not dramatic. It is small and persistent. I remind you softly, God hears the calling of the heart. When breath breaks into a cry, that cry is known. When shoulders slump and the spirit feels tired, someone leans in. The hearing is real, in the way a friend hears a name in the dark and answers with care. The saving that follows is the steady kind. It does not always pull the trouble away. It walks beside it and makes space for new breath. I tell a brief, nameless story. It is not a sermon. It is a single, quiet life that touched mine a few years back. Someone I knew sat at a kitchen table late at night. The house hummed with the sound of a heater. Bills lay in a small stack. Decisions felt like doors that would not hinge. The person had walked long months feeling small, and like the weight would not lift. Thoughts became rooms you could not leave. One night, they wrote a single line on a scrap of paper, not to be published, not to be shown. The line said only that they could not go on. It was raw and terrible. They put the paper in a drawer and sat with a mug that had gone cold. The room seemed too full for breath. In the morning, something changed without a trumpet. A neighbor knocked and left a small bowl of soup on the step. The person did not know the neighbor well. They did not call for help. No one arrived with grand solutions. Yet the small act of being seen made a difference. The neighbor's attention was not a cure, but it was an anchor. The person walked through the day not fixed, but held. A call from a helpline came later. A kind voice listened long enough for the first unsteady sentence. The first sentence did not erase the nights. It opened a tiny seam where light could come. That seam widened over time. Therapy began. Medication balanced the chemistry. Friends came and stayed. The clean heart did not happen in a day. It happened as small water on stone. It happened because someone noticed, because service is answered, because the person found the courage to speak one thin phrase into a patient ear. I say this to remind the night rescue often arrives through ordinary things: a bowl of soup, a patient listener, a legal form filed. The presence that hears does not always appear as thunder. It appears as consistent care. It is quiet and persistent, like hands that do not leave until the body rests. Listen now to the psalm again as a private plea. Create in me a clean heart. The words ask for remaking. They ask not for perfection but for openness. Imagine that openness as a window unlatched. Dust may fly out. The air may feel raw for a moment, but the room breathes differently afterward. A right spirit within me is like the small tilt of a painting that makes the room look correct again. The tilt does not change the wall. It clarifies the view. I offer a small practice to match these words. No grand ritual, just a few actions you can do with closed eyes. Place a hand on the chest. Feel its rise and fall. Let the fingertips rest over the place that remembers most. Breathe in a slow count of 3. Hold one soft heartbeat. Breathe out for the same count. Do this 5 times. With each out-breath, imagine a tiny stain lifting from the surface of the chest. Do not rush the image. Let it move with the breath. Say the verse inwardly as you breathe. Create in me a clean heart. Let the words be a slow tide washing across the place that aches. Feel the hand warm the skin. The warmth matters. The attention matters. The two together form a simple altar. Now picture a small lamp beside the place that worries you most. The lamp throws a pale ring. It does not need to banish shadow. It simply makes a space where careful hands can work. Place the worry softly on a low table inside that light. Watch in your mind as someone could be a neighbor, a friend. An unseen keeper bends and tends it. The tending is not dramatic. It is small. It changes the shape. That change is enough for rest. If the body resists the idea of a clean heart, do not argue. Picture, instead, a garden in fall. Leaves gather. The gardener comes with gloves and a rake. No one expects the garden to be perfect by morning. The gardener acts anyway. The heart receives that shaping in the same way. Renewal begins with small tending. I keep my voice low. The pace of words is slow. Each sentence is a soft tool for the ear. Mercy is not an abstract notion here. It is visible as small acts, a steady voice at 3 in the morning, a neighbor bringing food, a counselor who does not turn away. Listening is itself a rescue. The psalm also reminds me of confession as a humble step. It is not shame that shoves the body down. It is a willingness to show what is true. To name a wound is to allow care to touch it. If you carry something you will not name, imagine placing one small word on the table by the lamp. It may be a single name of a hurt. Speak it to the air. You do not need to explain. You do not need to carry it forever. Name it and lay it down. After naming, breathe. Picture the breath as a mild wind that pushes the named thing toward the lamp, where hands will receive it. These hands do not judge. They make space. They move slowly. They keep holding even when the night deepens. I remember a time when I thought renewal had to be loud. I learned otherwise. Quiet habits made the greater change. I began to leave a glass of water on a bedside table. I began to write 2 lines before sleep, a thing I was grateful for, and one small thing I could do tomorrow. I sat with a neighbor for 10 minutes without asking questions. Over months, the small practices shaped a pace of life that allowed the heart to mend. The Psalm's plea became a daily folding of breath and small action. If tears come now, let them. They are part of the washing. Tears are not a failure. They move the film on the stone and make the clean underlayer visible. Crying is an honest bell that signals the need for repair. Let it ring, and then let the bell settle. I do not promise that the morning will be perfectly bright. I promise that the work of renewal is near. I promise that the hand that hears is steady. I promise that the Psalm's request can be your night's small occupation. Repeat it softly. Let its cadence match your breath. Before I close, take a slow inventory from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. Soften the jaw. Let the shoulders drop. Notice one place where tension lives. Breathe toward that place. Imagine a clean current of water passing through it. The current is not harsh. It is warm and patient. I will leave a lamp lit in the imagination. I will keep a bowl on the table in your mind. That bowl will hold one small worry for the night. The lamp will warm it so it does not seize the chest. Keep the verse with you as a short prayer. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Say it once. Say it twice. Let it be the slow chorus beneath your sleep. When I go, the room keeps its hush. The book closes lightly. My voice rests. I will return in the next part with more soft phrases. The next lines will not hurry you. They will continue to hold to mercy and to the gentle work of being made new. For now, let the hands that hear be enough. Let the small neighbor acts be remembered. Let the clean water move across the stone. Sleep into the hush of repair. Rest into the simple promise that hearing brings rescue of a steady sort. The lamp glows. The bowl waits. The breath slows. Allow the clean heart to begin where you are. The lamp hums low. The room keeps its small circle of light. I read slowly and hold each breath between lines. My voice is soft. The night listens. I lift my eyes to the hills. From where will help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Those words rest like a small stone in the hand. They do not clang. They do not demand. They sit and give weight to a thought. Help is not random. It arrives from a source that holds the whole sky. Look up with me. Not all tasks need a map. Not every fear needs a plan. Sometimes the simple act of looking changes the center. Lift the head a fraction. Let the eyes find the dark line of the hills outside the window. See the silhouette? It is steady. It is older than tonight's worry. The hills are not only places, they are symbols of what presses. A hill can be a slope that hurts the legs. It can be a piled set of decisions when the mind grows small with concerns. The shape of a hill helps the chest remember scale. Problems shrink a little when set beside a horizon that has held many seasons. Help comes. The verse says, from the Maker of heaven and earth. Say that line like a small bell. The phrase points beyond the immediate. It does not remove the struggle. It places it within a larger frame. The frame is wide enough to include the night and the long string of mornings to follow. I tell a brief memory so the idea can be touched. Years ago, there was a night when footsteps felt uneven. A shadow of worry kept pacing the floor. It was not a grand crisis. It was a slow unraveling. The world felt small. The body held its breath in expectation, sitting at the window. I watched the dark edge of a distant hill. A neighbor passed with a lantern. The light crossed the yard and fell on a puddle that had gathered at the curb. The small lantern made a path out of wet confusion. The neighbor did not say much. They carried light and kept walking. The act was tiny. It was enough. Help often begins that way. Not with thunder. Not with immediate solutions. With a lamp. With a hand. With something steady that reminds the feet how to move. The verse names the ultimate source. Yet the human moments point the way. A small light is still light. When fear tightens the throat, lift the eyes as a practice. The motion is small. It interrupts the circling worries. Let the gaze find a patch of sky. If the eyes meet a star, let it be a soft anchor. Stars do not fix every thought, but they slow the breath. Inhale slowly, hold once. Exhale and let a small release come. Repeat until the body remembers a longer beat. Help as a promise is not a removal of responsibility. It is a presence that steadies the step. Imagine a shepherd on a ridge. The shepherd watches the flock, notes where the ground gives, and shifts the route. The flock does not walk alone. The shepherd's attention is the help. In the same way, the Maker of heaven and earth keeps a watch. The watch is not an instruction to walk perfectly. It is a companion for the dark stretches. Forgiveness and help are close friends in this image. When a heart seeks a pure start, help invites that renewal. Receiving help can look like letting go of a harsh word held too long. It can look like answering a small example of kindness with an open hand. Giving forgiveness can be a form of offering help. When a hand releases resentment, the path ahead becomes less crowded. The breath lengthens. The hills look softer. I do not lecture on deep doctrine. I offer a gentle map by way of example. Think of a kitchen at dawn. A kettle begins to hum. Someone places a cup on the table for you without asking. The cup is warm. The gesture says, "I see you." That small hospitality is help. It is the Maker's presence made visible through ordinary care. A simple practice may help the feelings settle. Close the eyes if it comforts. Place a hand over the heart. Feel the slow rise and fall. Imagine the eyes lifting toward the hills. Picture the Maker of heaven and earth as a steady presence, like a lamp that never goes out. Inhale for 3 counts. Pause. Exhale for 3 counts. As the breath moves, imagine a thin rope of light descending from the hills and resting lightly on the shoulders. The light does not tug, it merely rests. Stay with that image for a few cycles. Help often comes in small, practical forms. A friend sits in silence and listens. A neighbor leaves a bowl of soup at the door. A phone call arrives with no solutions. only presence. These acts are not less because they are simple. They echo the larger promise that help is from the one who holds the sky. There is a humility to asking help. Pride often keeps hands closed. It can feel risky to lift the eyes and say, even in the mind, that help is needed. Yet the psalm invites the gesture. It teaches that to look up is a spiritual habit as much as it is a physical movement. It trains the heart to expect a responder. It seems the help feels far. In those hours, return to the small signs. Watch the lamp in the hall. Notice a calendar date that marks a doctor's visit. Remember a voice that said it would check in. The web of small aids matters. The Maker of heaven and earth includes these threads in the net of care. I remember once sitting on a low hill at dawn, a borrowed blanket around the knees. The sky was thin and pale. My feet were sore from a long walk. No grand answer had appeared. A stranger came up the path with a canteen and offered a drink. The canteen's water was cool and clean. The offer was brief. It was not a speech. It was help. The simplicity changed the body's readiness. The step forward felt less weighted. That small act stayed in memory, as if the whole world had been rearranged by a single canteen. Help also asks for trust. Trust is not blind. It is learning to step with the knowledge that hands will meet the feet if they slip. The Psalms' claim about the Maker of heaven and earth is a promise of capacity. It reassures that the help comes from one whose reach is wide. That reassurance is a gift to restless minds. If anger or regret blocks the willingness to receive, take a breath before turning the face away. Forgiveness may be a door that opens inward. To receive help sometimes means allowing a gentle clearing of old blame. It is not a dismissal of truth. It is the freeing of the hands to hold forward tools. When resentment untwines, the path becomes more passable. The night often brings questions. Will help be on time? Will it be enough? The psalm does not answer every question. It offers a posture. The posture is upright look, humble asking, a receptive heart. Practice the posture tonight. Lift the eyes a little more than usual. Let the chest open a touch. Speak a quiet sentence in the mind. From where does my help come? Then wait in stillness for the memory of the Maker's care. Help also moves through seasons. Some nights feel endless. Some mornings bring sudden ease. Both kinds are part of the journey. The Maker of heaven and earth knows the timing. The work of help is patient. It keeps watch longer than the impatience of a single hour. I tuck a small exercise into this pause. Picture a map with only 3 points: the bed, a hill, and a door. Imagine walking from the bed toward the hill. Pause at the foot and look up. Then turn toward the door. See a hand placed there. Steady and patient. Walk through the door with that hand at the back of the neck. The image is small. It trains a habit of expecting guidance. My voice is low as the sentence rests. The lamp keeps its steady circle. The hills outside the window remain. The stars may be hidden by cloud. The invisible hills still hold the sky. The Maker who shaped them is near. If tears come, let them fall. They are not a sign of failing faith. They are part of the seeking. When eyes fill, the body lightens at once. A small sorrow can be the doorway through which help steps. The Psalm's simple question is a prayer as much as any long speech. Before sleep arrives, consider placing one worry in the light. Imagine a little stone on the palm, name it silently, and set it upon the nightstand in the mind. Then picture a larger hand steady and wide, placing another hand over the stone. The stone remains, but it is held. That holding is the help promised. I will not promise that every path will be smooth by morning. I will promise that the practice of lifting the eyes is a dependable one. The habit of looking toward help reshapes the night. It steadies the breath and calms the hands. Tonight, let the psalm be a lullaby. Repeat the words slowly in the mind as you breathe. I lift my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Say it like a soft refrain. Let it slow the pulse. When the eyelids finally close, hold the image of the hills and the lamp together. Keep the promise of help near the heart, gentle as a hand on the shoulder. The room keeps its hush. The path waits beyond the door. Help will not be absent. It moves in the quiet acts and in the wide work of one who made the sky. I leave the lamp burning in the imagination. Tomorrow can bring small proofs. For now, rest with a posture of asking and the comfort of being heard. The maker of heaven and earth keeps watch. The breath slows. The night becomes a place where care can move. Sleep comes like a hand that steadies the head. When the voice returns, more lines will keep the same soft pace. For tonight, lift the eyes. Let the help be enough. I lower my voice and let the room breathe with the words. The lamp throws a small circle of light. My breath slows. I read the lines as a soft question and a gentle plea. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, and know my thoughts. See if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. The words land like a hand on the shoulder. They do not accuse. They invite an honest look. They ask for room to be seen. They ask for light to touch what is hidden. Search me. The first word is an opening. It is not a harsh light. Imagine a small lantern held close. It moves slowly across a face. It shows a tired line. It shows a small bruise no one else noticed. The lantern does not shame. It makes a place to clean and bind. I ask you now to rest a palm over your chest. Feel the soft rise and fall. Breathe in for 3 counts. Hold 1 beat. Breathe out for 3 counts. Let the breath be the quiet rhythm of looking inward. No list. No long complaint. One small thing at a time. When I say search, I mean gentle attention. I mean honest noticing. I mean a willingness to let something be known so it can be eased. The heart keeps secrets, not because it is wicked, but because it is tired. The search brings mercy to the tired places. Try me, and know my thoughts. This part feels like a mirror held in a calm hand. The mirror shows the mind as it is. It does not glare. It reflects without scolding. A mirror in the night helps the person see where the forehead furrows and where the mouth tightens. The seeing itself softens the hold of worry. There is a tenderness here. To invite inspection is to invite care. A surgeon can cut, but only if someone trusts the hands. The psalm asks for that trust. It asks the heart to open a single flap. It expects a presence that will not exploit what is found. The room becomes safe because the searcher is kind. Lead me in the way everlasting. The final line holds a direction. It does not promise a sudden clear map. It promises a steady hand. It promises a pathway shaped by patience. Everlasting sounds large. In the night, it looks like a slow path lit by small lamps. One step at a time, one breath at a time. I tell a quiet story now. It is not famous. It is small and true. It is the kind that comes when least expected. One winter, I wake with a tightness that will not ease. The chest holds a season of regrets. Names and choices crowd the mind. I move through the house in a slow haze and end up, without meaning to, at the back door. A stray breeze slides under the frame. When I open the door, snow has left a thin rim. Footprints run away into the dark. A small shape sits on the step. It is a bird, though not the kind that stays. It looks at me without fear. Its feathers are puffed for warmth. For a long moment we simply face each other. The bird tilts its head, and then, with a movement so ordinary, it feels like a miracle. It hops closer and leaves a small scrap of paper by the shoe. On the paper is nothing written, just a circle of damp from where a wing has touched. I laugh softly at the absurdity and pick up the paper. I carry it to the kitchen and set it beside my cup. Then, because the night is still long, I make tea. The water steams. The kettle makes a soft cry. The house smells of citrus and old wood. I sit at the table and hold the paper between thumb and finger. The circle of damp looks like a tiny map. Later that morning a neighbor knocks. They ask nothing at first. They say they found an old birdhouse at a yard sale and thought I might like it. They hand the wood over like a small offering. It is rough and simple. We lift it together and find the hook where the roof fastens. The birdhouse becomes a thing to measure care by. We nail it to a post in the yard. When spring comes, birds use it. That stray bird on the step never had words. It made no big statement. It only brought a small scrap and a presence into a night that felt heavy. The neighbor's hand, later, turned the scrap into an action. The searching moment, the bird's damp wing, the paper, the making of tea opened a seam. That seam allowed something gentle to enter. Help arrived in an ordinary chain. A bird, a scrap, a neighbor, a birdhouse. None of it shouted. Each act moved the heart a degree closer to calm. The story reminds me that searching can begin with the smallest of things. It does not always begin with a verdict. Often it begins with a glance, a shared cup, a tiny scrap that becomes a symbol of kindness. When the search is kind, the wound does not have to be shown in its worst light. It can be eased in parts. Now, a short practice. Close the eyes if that helps. Keep the hand on the chest. Think of one small corner that feels rough. Give it a name in a single word, not a long sentence. One word: fear, tiredness, regret, loneliness. Place that word on the scrap of paper in your mind. Fold the paper once. Notice the warmth of the hand as it holds the fold. Breathe in slowly. With the out breath, imagine the lantern moving over the fold. The light is careful. It touches the edge. It does not pull the fold open unless you are ready. Say inwardly, search me, try me, lead me. The words are a doorway. Do not force anything. Let the lantern touch and move on, if that is what the heart needs tonight. I read the psalm again. Very slowly. Each line is a soft step. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, and know my thoughts. See if there be any wicked way in me. Lead me in the way everlasting. Hear the cadence. Let it match the breath. The words become a rhythm. The rhythm is a lullaby for the conscience. It does not demand confession as punishment. It offers it as medicine. There is a quiet bravery in asking to be known. It is gentle courage. It may feel risky to hold up what is private. The psalm knows this. It frames the risk with a promise. The searcher leads in goodness. The searcher knows the whole sky. The searcher is not a stranger in the night. If doubt comes, do not argue with it. Let the doubt be a bird outside the window. Notice the sound it makes. Let it fly on. Keep the palm over the chest. Feel the breath lift the fingers slightly. That slight movement is progress. Tiny steps are the ones that carry us through long nights. I tell another brief scene. Often help is practical. Once I find myself awake in the small hours with a list of things I cannot finish. Sleep seems like a distant shore. I cannot quiet the how-to of tomorrow's tasks. I decide to write one line, and only one line. One task. I will do tomorrow. That will matter. I place the paper on the nightstand. It is nothing heroic. It is a single promise. In the morning, I wake and the paper is wet at the corner because the window leaked overnight. The task is still there. The simple act of choosing one thing has shaped the day. The list did not vanish. It simply organized into a step that was possible. The search that started as a private clearing became a practical path. The small paper guided the feet. There is a mercy to be found in smallness. Searching and being led do not always come as sweeping revelations. They come as manageable steps. They come as neighbors who hammer a nail. Tea that warms hands. A scrap that becomes a birdhouse. The everlasting way is built of little planks. Now place attention on the feet. Feel them in the bed. Sense the weight of them. A way is walked with feet. If the feet are tired, place a soft pillow under them for a bit. Let the body know that movement can wait. The way is not hurried. It is patient. The Maker of heaven and earth knows the length of every step and the number of them that will be taken in a single night. If shame presses, remember the hand that searches is also the hand that binds. The same light that finds a bruise brings salve. The same gaze that notices a fault also notices the wound beneath it. The psalm does not leave the watcher as cold. It offers a companion who tends as the night deepens. I keep the questions small. One more to practice before rest. Think of a narrow hallway. At the far end, a door stands slightly ajar. Walk in the mind toward that door. Each step is a slow breath. When you reach the threshold, imagine putting the small folded scrap down at the foot of the door. Do not open the door unless you are ready. Leave the scrap there as a sign that something was seen. Then step back into the bed. This act is not avoidance. It is placement. It trusts that what is left at the doorway will be cared for. It honors the rhythm of the night and the time of day. There is a season for action and a season for being held. Tonight can be a season of being held. I end this passage with a gentle assurance. The invitation to be searched comes from the one who made the skies and the soil. That maker also knows you're breathing tonight. The search is not a forensic exam. It is an offer of healing hands. Keep the lantern image in the mind if it comforts. Let it move where it will. Keep the scrap of paper on the nightstand in the imagination. Let the neighbor appear in memory as a reminder that help sometimes comes on 2 feet, and not only as thunder. When the eyelids grow heavy, repeat silently, search me, lead me. Let the words be a soft prayer. Allow the breath to draw them in. Allow the night to do its slow work. I will come back with another soft reading. The next part will hold similar care. For now, rest in the kindness of being known without fear. Let the lamp glow inside the chest. Let the lantern of mercy move gently across the heart. Sleep comes as the Maker leads a steady path. The way is everlasting. And tonight, it is a quiet path. The lamp is a low circle again. The breath keeps slow. I hold the book open with hands that relax. The page is a quiet place to rest in the dark. I speak the psalm in the first person, and let it sit like a small garment over the shoulders. I dwell in the shelter of the Most High. I rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I say with a soft voice that God is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. The lines are not a lecture. They are a small shelter I place close to the ear. Hear them not to argue, but to receive. Let each phrase be a beam across a roof. Let each rhythm be a plank that holds weight. Shelter feels like a low room with thick walls. Imagine a roof that keeps the rain out and yet breathes. The shelter is not a prison. It is a safe corner of a house that allows the chest to soften. Picture the rafters overhead. They are steady. They do not creak with alarm. The steady wood supports the light and the small sleep that comes. Shadow is different from darkness. Shadow is cool. It is the pause beneath an overhanging tree in a hot afternoon. It is the soft place where the sun does not press. To rest in the shadow of the Almighty is to find cool where the world grows feverish. The shadow is not the end of sight. It is a place to breathe without blinding glare. Refuge and fortress are words that offer images in the mind. A refuge can be a quiet room with a window that catches only the second light. It is a chair that shapes to the person who sits there. It is a curtain that muffles the city. A fortress brings to mind thick stones and a door that holds when winds push. In the quiet of the night, these images do not shout. They steady the heart by promising that shelter exists Trust grows slowly in small acts. It is the hand that leaves a warm mug beside the bed. It is the neighbor who comes back with a spare blanket when the wind finds the window. Trust is not a lightning strike of belief. It is an accumulation of small, faithful gestures. The psalm gives permission to lean into that steadying, to name a refuge, and to let the body find rest. I invite a slow picture. Imagine walking toward a small house at dusk. The path is level, but the feet are tired. Light spills out from under the door. A porch roof bows over the step. When the hand reaches for the latch, the air under the eave is cool. It pulls the shoulders down. The world's noise distances itself by one small measure. In that cool breath, the mind finds a pause. Place a palm on the chest now, and feel the rhythm beneath it. Count 3 even breaths. Inhale. Hold lightly. Exhale. Let the idea of shelter fill the space behind the ribs. Imagine that the lungs are rooms in the house, and that each breath is a window opening to let air in and stale worry out. I remember a quiet night when shelter came in a small, human way. Rain had driven the streetlights into a blur. I came in soaked to the shoulders and found a towel folded on a chair and slippers warmed by the stove. There was no sermon. There was only the simple readiness of a home to receive. The body that had marched through the storm relaxed as the towel took the chill. Shelter sometimes arrives with such ordinary things. Those things are enough. The shadow of the Almighty can be pictured as a great, slow tree that leans its branches to cover a bench. The bench is for one who needs to sit a long while. The branches do not press down. They create a canopy that hums with small life. Under the canopy there is time to breathe, to let thoughts uncoil like thread. The presence is not a sudden removal of trouble. It is a quiet screen that allows rest to come in degrees. If fear presses, imagine the shelter's door as a deliberate threshold. Do not force the door. Approach it softly. Let fingers find the latch. When the latch yields, step in. The room will not demand an account of every fear. It will only offer warmth. Stay in that warmth for as long as needed. The mind does not have to justify its rest. Trusting here is gentle work. Start small. Identify one thing that feels safe right now. Maybe it is the steady lamp. Maybe it is the sound of the radiator. Maybe it is the memory of a friend's calm voice. Hold that one small safety like a pebble in the palm. Let that pebble be the first foundation plank of a shelter. Add nothing complicated. Let the pebble be enough. A brief practice will help the heart remember. Close the lids lightly. Keep the palm at the center of the chest. Imagine a roof above you, low and protective, made of familiar wood. See the rafters and the slow shadow they cast. Hear the hush that the roof makes against the rain, if rain is near or against the whisper of a passing car. Breathe with the image. With each inhalation, feel the shelter draw nearer. With each exhalation, imagine some small weight slipping from the shoulders and resting on the floor of the house. Refuge sometimes arrives through ordinary hands. Once, late in a hard season, a friend came with soup and a blanket. There were no pronouncements, only a bowl and a place set at the table. Eating warmed the body. The blanket warmed the shoulders. The presence of a steady person changed the tone of the night. The Psalm's promise of refuge finds its shape in such acts. Keep that picture close. It is practical and it is holy in a soft way. Shelter also asks for rest from the inner voice that demands productivity at all hours. Permit the mind to quiet by small decrees. Name one tiny task that can wait. Say it softly inside. The task will be met tomorrow. The present hour is for resting. Repeat the sentence once or twice. Let it land like a soft cloth over a fretting hand. The decision to rest is itself an act of trust. The fortress image may feel strong and distant. Make it small. Think of a single room within a fortress. The room keeps a candle. The candle throws a narrow light that does not attempt to illuminate every wall. It offers a comfortable circle. Sit in that circle. Let the rest of the fortress be large enough to hold whatever comes, but close enough to be a friend to the tired body. If worry reappears, treat it like a small bird at the sill. Offer it a scrap of bread. Then let it go. Do not try to silence every note it makes. Notice it. Acknowledge it. Then return the attention to the shelter's hearth. The practice of noticing without following the worry is a soft discipline. It trains the mind to rest while still being honest about what it carries. Place the word refuge into your imagination as a simple object. It can be a cup on the nightstand. Each time the breath slows, imagine the cup filled anew. The filling is not magical. It is symbolic of the small replenishments that come in ordinary ways. A kind word, a cup of tea, a hand on a shoulder. Let those small replenishments count tonight. I do not promise that the night will be free of trouble. I promise a place to lay it down. The shelter is not a denial of the storm. It is a place to be in the storm without being broken by it. The shadow of the Almighty is not an instant cure. It is a steady absence of crushing light. It lets the heart breathe. Remember the practice of small offerings. Tonight, place one small care into a name. Speak it once inwardly and tuck it into the shelter's corner. It might be a single worry about tomorrow. It might be a prick of regret. Name it in one lean word. Then imagine placing that word on a small stool by the bed. The stool will not judge. It will simply hold the word until morning. If tears come, let them. Tears are a kind of river that clears the dust from the face of the heart. They do not indicate failure. They are another way shelter works. Someone who shelters lets tears fall and waits. The shelter's walls absorb the sound and do not make a fuss. Allow the body to breathe through the salt. When the breath returns, the shelter still holds. Trust grows when it is practiced. Try tonight a tiny act of trust. Relinquish one item on tomorrow's list. Decide it will wait or be given to another hand. Notice how the chest loosens even a fraction. Each small relinquishment is a timber set in the roof. Over many nights, the house becomes stronger. I will read these lines again softly. Slowly, like a lullaby, I dwell in the shelter of the Most High. I rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I say quietly that God is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Repeat them in the mind a few times with the breath. Breathe in, let the shelter image rise. Breathe out. Let the shadow cool the face. Keep the lamp of the imagination lit. Hold the pebble of safety. Keep the hand on the chest and feel the even rise and fall. Each breath is a small step closer to sleep. The room we imagine will stay until morning if we wish. The rafters will hold. The cup on the nightstand will remain warm enough. The fortress will keep its inner room ready for the return of daylight work. For now, the posture is rest. Before I close this part of the reading, take one slow inventory from crown to soles. Let the eyelids soften. Let the jaw unclench. Let the shoulders unbundle a small measure. Name one gentle intention for the night, perhaps. To wake once, and not to rush straight into worry. Keep that intention small and gentle. I will leave a lamp glowing in the imagination, and a quiet word at the bedside. If sleep comes, lead it. If the hour remains long, return to the house and sit again under the rafters. The shelter and the shadow will wait. When the voice returns in the next part, it will bring more soft images and a steady cadence. For now, rest in the shelter. Sleep in the shadow. Trust the refuge that is near. The room keeps its hush. The breath slows. The night leans in to cover the head. Good rest comes like a patient hand. Let it do its work. The room breathes with us. The lamp keeps a narrow circle. I read in a voice that stays gentle. The words come slow and simple. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? I let that line sit like a warm cloak around the shoulders of the night. I do not unpack it like a lesson. I offer it as company. Let the syllables fall into the hush. Let each one rest against the ear. Light is a small thing in a dark hour. It can be a candle on a table. It can be the glow beneath a door. It can be a single star seen through a slit of cloud. When fear skates across the mind, I picture a tiny lamp set down on the path. The lamp does not blare. It does not try to banish every shadow at once. It simply shows the next step. The next step is what matters for now. Salvation is not always the big rescue you imagine in a story. Often, it is the hand that steadies you when the floor tilts. It is the breath that meets the panic and slows it. It is the person who leaves a glass of water on the nightstand. In these lines, light and saving feel most real when they take shape as small, ordinary acts. I keep my voice low, so the shape of those acts can be seen without hurry. I speak to you as one who reads by the bedside. I speak as someone who has walked through places that felt uncertain. Once, on a night thin with rain, I am driving a road I know by memory. The map seems right. The tires find the familiar grooves. Then the fog comes down thicker than memory. Headlights smear. The world becomes a smear of white. I slow the car. The radio murmurs. The road markings disappear. The pulse edges quicken. I notice a distant glow ahead. It is not a street lamp. It is a porch light. It hangs at the mouth of a house that sits back from the road. Someone has left it on. The light is small and steady. It becomes a marker. I steer toward that glow. The tires find a turn they had missed a moment before. A neighbor appears at the door. Wrapped in a robe, they do not say much. They offer a towel and a steady cup of tea. Their voice is soft and simple. The fog remains thick. Yet the porch light gives a direction. The cup steadies the hands. That evening is not a grand miracle. It is a chain of small care. The porch light is a picture of the kind of help the psalm names. Light guides. Salvation comes as a series of tiny mercies. The memory stays with me because it is ordinary and therefore true. It teaches that dwelling in the shelter of the Almighty means learning to recognize the small beacons. Shelter is not a distant concept. It is a place you can enter even when the weather outside is wild. Imagine a small room warmed by the oven. The windows do not rattle with the wind. A quilt is folded at the end of the bed. The door is tight. The house keeps a steady hum. Inhabit that image. Now, feel the floor beneath the feet. Let the sound of the wall clock be a slow heartbeat. Safety does not promise absence of storms. It promises a place to be while the storm moves through. I read the psalm again. Softly, the Lord is my light and my salvation. The line asks a question that is more like a practice than a test. Whom shall I fear? The practice is to turn toward the light when the throat tightens. The practice is to remember the small hands that have guided before. The practice trains the body to relax by degrees. When uncertainty presses, try this with me. Close the lids, if that helps the ear. Place a hand over the sternum. Feel the rise and fall. Breathe in a slow count of 4. Hold a gentle beat. Exhale for a count of 4. With each inhalation, imagine a soft ribbon of light descending to rest where the palm lies. The ribbon does not burn. It cools and warms. At the same time, it steadies. After 3 cycles, let your breathing return to its own pace. Notice the small loosening where the chest held tight. I offer another small story, not of a dramatic rescue. A friend calls late in the night. Voice thin. They are unsure about a future appointment. They do not know the results of tests. They sit at a kitchen table with a single lamp. The lamp throws a faithful circle over the form of a cup and a stack of mail. They do not know what will come, and yet they feel a ripple of steadiness because someone else says, simply, I will stay on the line. I will listen. Staying on the line is a kind of light. It is salvation in the modest shape of attention. There is no need for immediate answers. There is need for a presence that holds. The night stretches, and the caller breathes once or twice, as if free to do so. The fear is not erased, but it loosens enough for the next small step. This is the shelter I read of. It arrives in hands and voices that do not demand resolution tonight. The Almighty's shelter is roomy. It has space for questions and for small wonders. It knows the map of each person's breath. It keeps watch longer than we can imagine. The promise of dwelling there is not a guarantee that nothing will be hard. It is a promise that hard things will not have the last word. The presence at the center keeps a lamp lit. The presence will not be startled by tears. The presence will not turn away from silence. Practice another small image. Picture yourself as a traveler who has been walking too far. The shoes are worn. The pack weighs heavy. A house appears with a lantern swinging from the eave. The traveler steps up into a kitchen where someone slides a plate across the table. The plate is simple. The food is warm. The conversation is thin. The house is a shelter because it takes the weight. Imagine setting the pack down. Feel the shoulders change. Notice how a single act of care changes the body's economy. Let that imagined rest become real in the chest. I keep my sentences careful. I do not preach. I describe. The Psalm's light works in small degrees. It lights the faces of those who sit beside the wounded. It warms the blankets folded at the hospital bench. It creates room to breathe and find one step forward. Salvation is what happens when the next step becomes possible. Fear will still come sometimes. It may arrive like a sudden rain. When it does, do not force the mind to make big answers. Return to the small practices. Light a candle in the imagination. Place one worry on a little stool. Tell it may wait until morning. The act of naming and placing calms the hand enough to sleep. There is a gentle lesson in the psalm for those who feel they must be always brave. Bravery can be small. Bravery can be admitting weariness. It can be asking for a cup. It can be letting hands be held in the shelter of the Almighty. Courage often looks like vulnerability. The Maker's light meets the tender places first. The saving comes near to the broken. I remember a night, years ago, when a city blackout holds the block in soft ink. People come out onto stoops. Lamps are lit. Neighbors straight bread. A stranger walks along the line of houses with a lantern and a calm face. We do not know that face. We call it kindness. It shifts the atmosphere. The darkness remains. Yet the neighborhood breathes differently. We remember the light later, as if it were a small miracle. That memory is one reason I trust this psalm. Light made by hands matters. If doubt returns, say to the mind, light is with me. Say it quietly in the heart. Repeat it like a rhythm. The hand on the chest will feel the promise. As an answered echo, do not worry about theology. Think about the felt truth. Think about the neighbor's lamp. Think about the cup of tea. Think about the hand that steadied the shoulder. These are the ways salvation comes when the script of the night feels uncertain. Before sleep arrives, scan the body slowly from crown to soles. Soften the jaw. Let the shoulders fall. Notice one place where tension holds. Breathe into it and imagine a small salve being applied. The salve is patience. The salve is mercy. Each out-breath presses the salve into the skin a little further. Place another tiny practice in the mind. Write one line on a scrap of paper in the imagination, a sentence that names one thing forgiven or one thing you choose to release for tonight. Fold the paper twice. Lay it on the nightstand. Tell the thought that it can wait until morning. This act is simple. It is practical. It trains the hands and the heart to rest. The rest does not mean problems vanish. It means the body is given space to receive grace. It means the mind is allowed to stop holding every thread at once. Let the bed be a safe room. Let forgiveness and healing do their slow work there. I linger on the page a moment longer. My voice grows softer. The lamp keeps its small circle. A crown of mercy rests in the mind. A small salve moves across the chest. The pebble on the table feels lighter. Allow sleep to take what remains gently. When the voice returns, the reading will not demand much. It will continue with the same quiet care. For now, Rest with the sense of being forgiven and tended. Let that truth settle like warm cloth across the shoulders. Let the night finish its work. Good night. Rest into mercy. The lamp keeps its small circle. The room breathes in the hush. I hold the book and let my voice be a soft tide. Tonight, I read a short line and let it settle. Why are you cast down? O my soul, why are you disquieted within me? Hope in God. For I shall again praise him, my help and my God. I speak the verse slowly. The words are an invitation more than an answer. They name the thing that sits heavy. They reach toward a place that wants to be light. When the heart feels low, the mind tightens. The chest learns a cramped way of breathing. That is normal. It is human. The verse does not shame the feeling. It names it. It calls it out of hiding and gives it a place on the table of the night. Hope is an action here. Hope in God is not a quick fix. It is a small practice. It is a turning of the face toward an open sky. It is the choice to try praise again. Even when the throat is raw, I ask you now to feel the breath. Breathe in slowly. Hold one soft beat. Breathe out. Let a little ease go with the sigh. Repeat this 3 times. The movement is a simple way to practice hope. Breath is an honest teacher. It does not promise immediate joy. It promises a rhythm that the heart can follow. Hope needs witness. It grows when something keeps watch with it. Once, in a season when days seemed grey and steady, I learned this truth the hard way. The sharp edge of sadness arrived, not like a storm, but like a slow leak. Blanc-frayed. Appetite narrowed. Tasks became lists I could not climb. Night felt longer than the day. I do not tell this to make a point. I tell it because the memory still has warmth. The first thing that helped was a neighbor who returned a small kindness. They left a jar of preserved fruit at the door. It was nothing like a cure. It was a hand showing up in a mundane hour. The jar sat on the porch, listless, until I found it. The gesture reached past my stubbornness and said, I see you. It mattered. Then other small acts arrived. A friend pressed a note into my hand with a line of a hymn. A doctor scheduled a time and listened without hurry. A counselor named the habit of dark thinking and taught a few simple steps to loosen it. The steps were small. They were practical. They asked for no miracles. They asked only for patience. Patience is a form of hope. Hope and patience are companions. They walk slowly together. When the mind resists the idea of healing, patience waits with a gentle calendar. It does not demand instant brightness. It counts the small improvements. One morning when a longer breath came with the sun, gratitude rose like a soft tide. It was not loud. It was enough. Grace found its way in the ordinary, a single Sunday. I stood at a window watching the frost melt. The ice on the pane loosened in the sun. Tiny drops gathered and slid down. The sight was small and tender. In that little dissolving, the thought came. The heart can thaw too. That thought felt like a promise I could keep. Healing did not come all at once. There were days that rolled back into old worry. There were setbacks that required more gentle tending. Yet over weeks and months, the cadence changed. The mornings began with one more small choice to step out into air, to make tea, to open a book for a line or two. Those choices were the bricks that hope stacked into a path. Hope also needs a voice. Praise is a form of speech that turns outward, saying thanks, even in a whisper, trains the throat to new music. I began with a single sentence each night. Thank you. Not for everything. Not yet. Just for this small thing, that morning warm bread. A steady chair. A neighbor's nod. Saying it aloud felt odd at first. Then it felt like opening a window, a sliver. The air came in. When the verse says, I shall again praise him, it does not say when. The timing is gentle. It assumes a future without setting a harsh deadline. Hope can live in that patient expectation. It keeps the heart from closing up. It keeps the mouth from hardening. If you feel cast down tonight, place one small hope on the bedside table of the mind. It can be a real object, a pebble, a note, a ring, or imagine one. Call it a single line, one small thing to ask for tomorrow. Do not crowd it with the whole world. Keep it narrow. A small hope is reachable. A large one can feel like a cliff. Try a practice with me now. Close the eyes if that helps. Picture a narrow stream. The water moves steady and slow. Take a pebble from your pocket, real or imagined. Name one worry on it. In a single word, gently set the pebble on the bank. Watch as the water pulls it in a whisper and carries it down. Do not expect it to be gone forever. Notice only that the stone moves. Allow the motion to teach the chest a new ease. Hope also needs belonging. It grows when the heart is not made to hold everything alone. Tell one person how the night is briefly, if there is someone who listens. The telling need not be long. It can be a single sentence, typed into a message. The act of sharing takes a weight from the shoulder. It hands the load to two hands instead of one. Faith is not a demand for proof. It is a quiet trust that someone larger is near. The verse uses words like help and God. Those words carry a shape of steadiness. The steadiness appears in the kind hands and in the practical aids. It appears in a quiet counselor who teaches a breathing rhythm, in a friend who shows up with scissors to cut the hair, in a therapist who listens to a pattern and asks small questions that open a new view. I remember standing by the river once at dawn. The light is small and thin. A fish broke the surface, and then the water closed again. The moment was ordinary and startling. In it felt a strange relief. The world had continued its rhythms while I worried. The river moved. The fish flicked. In that continued motion, hope found a foothold. It was not miraculous. It was a small fact that life still moves. Praise does not ignore suffering. It touches it with honesty. To praise again is not to deny night. It is to choose a counterpoint to the night song. If the throat is too tight for words, praise can be a quiet hum or a soft breath that names gratitude in the space between inhales and exhales. Let me offer a modest ritual for tonight. Before sleep, take 3 slow breaths. On the first, think of one thing that gave even a small good today. On the second, think of one person who offered kindness. On the third, say softly, hope in God. Let the sentence be a tether. Do not argue with it. Let it be a soft anchor in the chest. Healing and grace taught me about small thresholds. Each step was not a leap, but a doorway. There were doors of medication. If needed, doors of rest. Doors where a hand reached out. Open one small door tonight. Let the footstep through. Let the breath follow. Promise yourself 2 small mercies before sleep. One mercy is for the body, a warm drink, a soft pillow folded under the knees. The other mercy is for the mind, a line of scripture, a few minutes of calm music, a simple prayer, no more than a sentence. These small mercies are real. They add up. When the soul asks, why? Let it be heard. Talking to the heart honors it. Do not rush the question. Let the why sit in the room like a guest. Offer the guest a chair. Listen without trying to fix every reason. The psalm gives space to ask and also to answer with hope. I do not promise that every night will change quickly. I promise that steps are possible. I promise that help can come, and often does in the humblest forms. A cup of warm broth, a phone call that stays with you for 5 minutes longer than you expect, a neighbor's small kindness, a counselor's steady questions. These things are the architecture of hope. Before the verse rests, take one last simple practice with me. Place a hand over the sternum. Feel the steady beat. Whisper silently or quietly the phrase, hope in God. Match it to the breath. Let the whisper be slow. Let the hand feel warmth. Let the pulse know the phrase, as a steady friend. I keep a lamp lit in the imagination. I keep a small jar on the nightstand. Into that jar go the tiny things that make hope possible. A neighbor's jar of fruit. A warm towel. A note with a hymnal line. A single good breath. When mornings are hard, take one from the jar. Let the item be a small proof that light exists. Tonight, the verse rests like a soft promise at the edge of sleep. Why are you cast down? O my soul, why are you disquieted within me? Hope in God, for I shall again praise him. My help and my God. Say it again now. Slowly, let the words be a slow chant. Let them wrap the chest like a warm shawl. When praise returns, it may be a whisper. That is enough. When healing comes, it may be a small step. That is enough too. I will close this part with a gentle invitation. Keep the small ritual near. Take 1 minute when you wake to repeat a tiny sentence of thanks. Let that minute be a seed. Seeds are gyed. They do not need the sun at once. They need small care. Hope is like a seed. The lamp in the imagination stays lit until I return. The book rests now. Sleep comes on a slow foot. Rest into the verse. Let its promise be a soft company as the night deepens. I will bring another passage when the voice returns. For now, breathe. Hope. Rest. The lamp keeps its small circle. The night breathes with a soft hush. I hold the book, and I read in a voice that stays steady. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I speak the lines slowly. I do not rush them. Each phrase comes like a small lantern set down on the path. Let the words rest in the room. Let them be small tools for the ear. There is a quiet promise in the first sentence. Steps are not random. They are guided. Guidance here is not a loud trumpet. It is a soft pointing. It is the hand that guides a foot away from a loose stone. It is direction laid gently into the rhythm of walking. A thought comes to mind. The idea of God delighting in our way is not a sharp judgment. It is a tender notice. Imagine someone watching a child learning to walk. The face softens. There is pleasure in the small courage. Delight is not distant. It is near enough to smile when the foot finds balance again. The second sentence carries another comfort. To fall is not final. The text does not promise a life without stumbling. It promises that a fall will not be the end. Something steadies us. A hand lifts. A support holds just when the knees would give. I invite a small practice. Rest the palms on the thighs. Breathe in slowly. Hold one small beat. Breathe out and let the shoulders drop. Repeat 2 more times. With each cycle, imagine the steps of the night laid before you like a soft path. Do not demand that the mind clear everything. Let the breath keep the pace. I tell you a memory so you can touch the promise. It is not dramatic. It is a quiet night at the edge of a small town. The rain has thinned from a heavy storm. The road is slick. I am walking with a small bag. The feet are tired. A loss has been heavy in the chest for weeks. The chest carries it like a stone. At a corner, I slip. My foot finds a slick place, and I go down. The fall is not poetic. It is sharp and humiliating. The bag spills. A paper flies away. The rain finds the skin. For a moment the chest collapses with the body. A rush of words begins in the head accusations. What ifs? Small cruelties. The mind trades in blame. Then a small sound arrives. Not a shout. Not a speech. A door opens across the street. A figure steps out and shakes a rug with a long, ordinary motion. The person does not rush across. They do not offer a sermon. They set the rug to dry and sweep the porch. They carry a small lamp and hang it on the rail. The light crosses the puddle and rests on my shoes. That single lamp does something important. I rise with help and laughter, soft as breath. The hands that come are steady. A jacket is offered. A towel is pressed to the hair. A shared silence takes over. In that silence, the sharp edges of shame dull so I can stand again. Hope lives in that sequence. It is not a sudden cure. It is a neighbor's ordinary care that rearranges the moment. The Psalm's saving hand is visible in such small kindnesses. The Maker delights in the path, not by fixing everything at once, but by placing steady light where feet must move. Notice the shape of the lifting. It begins with attention. Someone notices the stumble. The notice becomes action. The action is gentle. It becomes a help that does not remove responsibility but eases the way forward. We move on bruised. We are not broken beyond healing. I ask you to close the lids if that helps the ear. Picture a path with small stones. One stone causes a twist. Imagine a watchful hand at the side of the path. The hand points to a softer place. It rests there when the foot trembles. Breathe in that image. Let the hand be a comfort. Let it be the psalm's promise brought into a nightly picture. There is a deeper moment here for me. Once sorrow comes that refuses to be soothed by ordinary light, a deeper grief arranges itself like fog over every morning. It moves into the rooms. It makes sleep thin. I keep trying to make plans, and each plan folds under the weight of the ache. Nights stretch longer. In that season, a small thing lifts me. A friend does not speak wisdom. They bring a small, warmed loaf and set it on the table. They do not pry. They do not recommend a list of steps. They simply sit and watch as I break off a piece and taste bread that will not solve the grief, but will feed a hollow place. The act is simple. It is human. It is mercy. The psalm is present in that mercy. The Maker delights in the way where small human care carries the divine intention. God's delight shows in how ordinary hands choose to keep watch. When sorrow presses like a heavy stone, small bread, steady company, a lamp left burning, all these are ways hope arrives. I sketch a short practice for when sorrow sits in the chest like a long winter. Name one small thing that comforts you. It may be the texture of a blanket. It may be the scent of warm bread. It may be a favorite cup. Hold that thing in the mind. Imagine a hand that you trust, placing that comforting object beside your heart. Feel the relief that spreads when the hand tucks the thing safely near. This image is not meant to erase pain. It is meant to change its place. Pain may still exist. It may still speak aloud. The small comfort does not argue with it. It offers a companion. The companion is the psalm's hand, quiet and sure. I read those words again in the low voice I keep for these hours. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. Let the cadence match the breath. Hear the rise and fall. Let each phrase be a lantern and a rope. A lantern for the path ahead. A rope for the times the foot slips. Sometimes hope feels distant. It hides behind practical problems. Then I look for tiny anchors. A neighbor's knock. A message that simply says, I am here. A friend's willingness to stay on the phone when sleep seems far. These anchors are not grand. They are real. They are God's hands in small shape. Another moment comes to mind. It is late, and the house feels too full of silence. A small crib of sorrow rocks in memory. I take a walk with a lamp and notice a child on a porch reading a book. The child's voice is a soft murmur. The rhythm is ordinary. Children have a way of living in the present that teaches an older person how to step forward again. In the murmur, I find a seed of hope. It is not a doctrine. It is a felt thing. It pulls me gently from the edge. Hope is like that seed. It does not always shout. It germinates under small conditions. It needs light, water, and a steady hand. The psalm tells us that the hand exists. The texts tell us that God delights not in a perfect life, but in the courage of ongoing steps. I breathe with you now. Inhale slowly. Hold one soft beat. Exhale and imagine a hand beneath the heart, not taking anything away, only holding. Repeat twice more. Let the body practice being held. Let the mind remember what care feels like in small measures. If tears come, let them. Tears are part of the lifting work. They are how the chest lets go of what is too heavy. The hand that upholds does not scold the tears. It dries them gently. It waits until the face is ready to lift. Hope sometimes arrives through time. There is no need to force its coming. The Psalm's language is calm about timing. It does not promise that the fall is brief. It promises that falling is not final. It promises that the hand keeps hold. Patience is part of the path. Allow a small decision tonight. Choose one small kindness you will accept. It might be a warm drink. It might be a short message left for morning. It might be the intention to step outside when the sky is thin and blue. These small choices are practical steps on a slow road. I remember a morning when the world felt too sharp. The road ahead seemed intolerable. I chose one soft act to sit at the window and let the sun rest on my knees for 5 full minutes. The world did not change its plans. I did not solve the great thing. Yet those 5 minutes rewired the chest enough for me to make one small phone call I had been avoiding. That call did not fix everything. It set a motion. Hope found a place to move. The Psalm's promise is practical in that way. It is not a distant philosophy. It is a hand that participates in ordinary life. The delight is in the watching, the guiding, and the lifting when weight becomes too much. I close this part with a gentle invitation. Keep the image of a hand beneath the heart. Keep the thought of a lantern on the path. When you awake tomorrow and the mind presses with its lists, breathe and picture the hand. Let it be a small reminder that you are not walking alone. I will return with more lines. They will stay slow. They will carry the same care. For now, rest into the Psalm's quiet promise. Let the idea of delight take the shape of ordinary kindness. Let the lifting of sorrow come through hope that is patient and steady. The lamp remains on the table in the mind. The path waits, soft and lit. The hand holds. Breathe. Sleep, if it will. When the voice returns, the same light will be there. For tonight, allow the hand to steady the feet. Allow hope to lift the chest. Good night. The lamp is small. The page glows in that circle. I take the book and hold it gentle. Tonight the verse is a lamp for our feet and a light for our path. I speak it slow and let it settle. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. The sentence is a soft thing. It is not a thunderclap. It is a steady hand passed across a dim stair. The word shows the next step. It does not throw a flood over the whole road. It gives warmth to the foot that is about to move. I read the scripture to you now. My voice keeps low so ears can rest. The lines lie in the room like well-laid boards. They hold the weight of the night. Think of the path just beyond the porch. In the dark, the stones look the same. A little lamp at your foot shows a single stone. You step there. Then the lamp moves. You step again. The walking becomes a sequence of small, visible choices. That is what the word does. It lights the next piece of ground, and then, when you are ready, it lights the next. I have learned to carry this habit. At times the mind wants a whole map at once. It wants the end of the story in a single glance. The night will not always grant that view. So the word becomes a handrail. A line read before sleep becomes the tiny lamp on the stair. When fear presses, it often asks for the whole future. The request feels urgent. It piles questions into the dark. Scripture answers differently. It gives a phrase. A single phrase becomes a lamp. It steadies the breath. It chews away at the knot of worry, just enough for the next soft step. I ask you to try something with me. Choose a short verse tonight. Not a whole chapter. A few words. Write them on a small card. Fold the card and tuck it under the pillow. Place it near the cheek. The words will not march the mind into neat lines. They will sit beside the ear like a small light left burning. When the eyes are heavy, reach and take the card. Hold it between thumb and finger. Read the verse slowly. Let each syllable fall with a breath. Breathe in. Read a phrase. Breathe out. Read another. Do this 3 times. The rhythm trains the body to accept slow movement. The verse becomes a soft lantern in the hand. I remember a night when the city felt too wide. Street sounds bent the windows. Plans that were half made pressed at the forehead. In the small hour, I found a scrap of paper in my Bible. A neighbor had written a line there long ago. The ink had softened at the edges. I read it by a dull lamp and felt my foot find the margin of rest. The line did not fix the plans. It made the next breath possible. That small saving felt like a lamp on the stair. Scripture works the same way in ordinary rooms. A verse on a card becomes a marker in a pocket. A line underlined becomes a compass on a desk. These little acts are a way to bring the lamp with you. The word is not an abstract light. It is a practical one. It fits in a hand. It warms the palm. It helps the feet. I keep short verses in my pocket and in my phone. A slogan of mercy. A phrase of calm. When sleep is thin, I pull one out. It does not lecture. It sits. It guides. I do not need the whole book to move forward. One bright line is enough. Let the idea settle. The lamp does not announce itself. It appears where the feet need it. It is the margin note that steadies. It is the hymn line that slows the hand. It is the promise that holds the heart from tightening. I read aloud in the room because the sound matters. Words spoken slow reach the ear gently. The cadence breathes into the pauses. The reading is not a classroom. It is a bedside presence. The voice becomes part of the lamp. Each syllable is like a small washer of light on the next stone. The sound and the ink together guide. Here is a gentle practice for tonight. Keep the eyes soft. Place a palm over the heart. Pick one short verse. Breathe and say it slowly. Match each word to the breath. Breathe in and take the first half of the verse. Breathe out and finish the second half. Do this for 5 cycles. The movement lets the brain learn the tempo of trust. Do not worry. If thoughts wander, they will. Thoughts are like small birds. They come close, make a sound, and then they fly. When your mind returns to the verse, greet it like a neighbor. Repeat the line. Let the rhythm re-establish itself. The lamp is patient. It waits for the foot that will step again. The word as a lamp also arrives through others. Once a friend slipped a small card into a book before I left a house. On the card was a single phrase, nothing dramatic, only a reminder that I was not alone. At night, I found it. The line felt like a lantern left on the porch for my return. These small gifts are how the scriptures become alive for us. They are turned into neighborly lights. Keep a book by the bed that you can open without strain. Choose a page ahead of time. It could be a single paragraph or a short psalm. Never more than you can hold with rest. On sleepless nights, open to that place. Let your finger find the first line. Read it slow. Let the breath match its pace. The book does not demand understanding. It offers company when the chest tightens. Imagine the verse as a small lamp at your feet. Watch it show the color of the path. Notice the texture of the ground. If the path looks rocky, the lamp finds a softer stone. If the path looks steep, the lamp shows the foothold. The word does not erase the slope. It shows where to place the foot. I think of Scripture as a lantern that follows the feet. When sleep carries the mind into dark corners, the lantern returns. It points to the same small steps we have taken before. It does not mock the falling. It suggests the next move. When the foot slips, the lantern does not abandon the walker. It draws the root again. There is also a gentle way the word rests in dreams. Have you noticed that a line read before sleep sometimes arrives in the middle of a strange dream? It is a soft lamp appearing inside a picture where otherwise there would be confusion. The line lights a corner and makes the dream less frightening. Let the practice of reading a small verse before sleep be an offering to the dream. I try to keep a verse where the eye will meet it in the morning. Tape a card to the inside of a cupboard. Place a bookmark with one line in a drawer you open at breakfast. The light of the word is not just for the night. It moves with the day. It shapes the first step and the next. Tonight, select a verse and make it your lamp. Write it in a thin hand on a small card. Fold it once. Tuck it under the pillow or slide it into a shoe. Let the line be the friend that stays near the foot. When the body slows and the breath grows thin, take the card. Read it aloud if you wish. My voice reads with you now, but your voice can be a lamp too. There is no demand to explain every hard thing. The lamp is not a debate. It is a presence. Let it be simple. Let it be clear. Let it be near. I also keep a small practice for the moments when words feel too plain. If reading is heavy, listen to a short verse, a recorded voice, slow and calm. Can act like a lantern. Place the device on a low shelf. Let the recording play softly. The measured tone becomes a guide. The verse enters the room like a hand. Parents often know this well. A child learns comfort from a repeated line. The repetition is the lamp. It does not need to be polished. It needs to be steady. In the same way, A repeated verse mends the mind's uneven steps. Say it together. Say it alone. Or hear it from a gentle recording. The lamp keeps the steps safer. I will speak now a brief memory. The story is small and true. I am walking home at evening after a long day. The streetlights are sparse. Rain has pooled in the gutters. Shoes find new weight. The way feels longer than it is. From the pocket I draw a small folded card. On it is a short verse I learned once at a kitchen table. I read it softly. A line of light seems to rest at my feet. I slow the pace and find even steps. The rain continues. The way does not vanish. The small verse changes the weight of the walk. That memory is not an argument for miracle. It is an argument for practice. Little measures accumulate. A verse that calms the foot once will calm it again. Repeat the reading until the habit is the lamp you trust. Before I close this hour, a tiny practice to carry with you. Place the hands on the knees. Breathe in. On the out-breath, speak the verse slowly. Make it a ribbon of sound. Do this 6 times. Let the last reading be softer than the first. Tuck the verse back into the pillow. Let the card rest near the cheek like a lamp that stays at the edge of sleep. I will read again in the morning if you wish. For now, the word sits like a small lantern at your feet. It will not light the whole mountain. It will show the next stone. That is enough for tonight. I close the book with care. The lamp in the room keeps its small circle. My voice falls to a hush. Rest the body. Let the breath lengthen. Let the chosen verse be the soft light that guides the next step. When I come back for the last part, the lamp will still be there, waiting to lead us on another gentle way. Sleep now with the small light near. Let the word be the lamp at your feet and the light for your path. Rest into that steady presence. Good night. I come to the close of this hour with a slow hand. I fold the pages and feel the rhythm of the room. The air is soft. The bed waits. Breath moves in an even tide. I speak so the ears can rest. I do not speak to fix things. I speak to hold them gently until morning. Stay where you are. Keep the eyes heavy if that is right. Let the body find its familiar shape beneath the covers. Notice how the sheet cools where the skin has not been touched. That coolness is a border between day and night. Let it be a friend. Let it remind the limbs that work and rest. I will teach you one last small practice before we part. It is simple. It uses the hands and the breath. Place one hand over your heart. Place the other where the belly moves. Breathe in slowly and imagine the air reaching the place of your steady pulse. Hold for a bare beat. Breathe out and feel the shoulders soften. Repeat 3 times. Each cycle is an offering you make to the quiet. Each breath is a small step away from the busyness of the day. Now, take a single worry and give it a form. Make it small. It can be a pebble, a scrap of paper, a folded leaf. Keep it small so the hands know what to carry. Hold it for a moment. Then imagine a slow, patient wind. Watch the wind take the pebble or the leaf and carry it out over the water of the mind. Do not force it. Let it float at its own speed. The act of placing the little thing into the current is the work The current does the rest. I read the scripture aloud to you this evening. I bring it here as a steady presence. I do not debate its meaning. I let it sit like a warm bowl at the head of the bed. If you choose, say a short line in your head now. A few words only. Let the words be the last sound before sleep. Before we finish, I tell a brief memory, so the closing has a human weight. One late night years ago, I stand in a small kitchen with a cup in my hand. The night is wide and a little raw. The house keeps a soft hum. Outside, a porch creaks as wind moves aboard. I do not need a plan then. I need only the small steadiness of posture. I sit. I drink. I let a neighbor's light slide across the table. The simple human footnote. Someone's light changes the tension in the chest enough that I can set one worry down. That neighbor's quiet presence is a kind of grace. It taught me how much the ordinary can hold. Now, in this quiet, let ordinary things be sacred. A cup of water, a folded blanket, a pair of slippers near the bed. Each small habit offers safety. Let the smallest thing you have tonight be a sign that care exists. Let it be evidence that the hours can bend toward rest. I know the night can sometimes feel long. It can stretch thinking into sharp angles. So I give one more simple image to carry with you. Picture a small harbor at dusk. Boats float, not because the sea is calm, but because the harbor holds. They tie the lines to iron rings, and the ropes do their patient work. Let your heart be a boat this night. Tie one line loosely to a steadfast post. Name that post with a single word if you need care. Mercy. Rest. The line is a promise. It does not erase the water's motion. It keeps the boat from drifting in a way that would frighten the hands. If you find sleep hard tonight, accept a single allowance. Wake once and do not begin the day in that hour. Return to bed and breathe. Offer the rising thought a place on the bedside table and then set it back down. You do not have to solve what wakes you. You only have to carry it differently for a while. I read scripture here as company. I have read lines that hold the shape of mercy and steadiness. I leave those lines at your bedside now, as one might leave a small candle near the pillow. Let the light be a whisper, not a glare. If the mind returns to its loud habits, return to the candle. If the chest tightens, place a hand over the pulse and remind it that the lamp waits. Before I speak the blessing, take a soft inventory of the body from crown to soles. Ease the jaw. Let the tongue rest behind the teeth. Unclench the knees. Let the legs relax. Notice where the weight rests and allow a little of it to move into the mattress. Sleep will come more easily when the body has permission to settle. Now I offer words that have carried me across many long nights. These are simple words. They are not meant to be the only thing that heals. They are meant to be a company in the dark. I bless you with the gift of forgiveness. I ask that the rough edges of the day be smoothed by a kindness you did not expect. If you carry regret, may it find a soft place to lie. If you have wounded and cannot undo it, may mercy find a way into the seam. If you have been hurt, may release come little by little. I ask for a forgiving hush to settle over the mind, so the heart can close for rest. I bless you with the gift of grace. either by a neighbor's quiet hand, a word that arrives at the right moment, or an unexpected ease of breath. May grace find you tonight. May it come not as a demand, but as a present. May it reach the small places that counting cannot reach, a tired shoulder, a mind that will not stop, a hope that feels too thin and lighten them without hurry. I bless you with the gift of peace. May it come with the steadiness of a kept promise. May it be the kind of peace that does not insist on explanations. May it be a stilling that allows sleep its work. May the rhythm of your breathing become a small hymn of safety. Let the chest learn a longer pause between the in and the out. I ask these things in the quiet name that feels like home to you. I do not press doctrine. I do not argue over words. I speak as one who reads and keeps watch at the bedside. I bring a blessing like a folded cloak. I lay it across your shoulders. Feel its weight. Feel its warmth. It will not solve the morning, but it will make this hour possible. If you wish, say this short sentence in the mind as a closing prayer. Use your voice, if you like. Keep it simple. I am forgiven. I am held. I am given rest. Say it once, or say it 3 times. Let it rest like a small stone in the palm of the mind. Do not demand proof. Let the saying be a way of reorienting the breath. Remember also the small practices that help tonight. Keep the hand over the heart, the other on the belly. Let slow breathing be a habit. Keep a verse or a short line on a card near the pillow. Call a friend tomorrow if that will help. Do one small thing in the morning for which you can be grateful. These steps are not grand. They are faithful. They make the long road manageable. Before I leave, I share one gentle instruction for when you wake in the dark and worry knocks at the door. Sit up if you must, but do not flood the lamp with action. Place the hands on the knees. Breathe 4 small, even breaths. Repeat a short phrase: mercy, grace, peace. Let the phrase be like a key you turn slowly in a lock. Do not force the door. Wait until it opens a little of its own accord. I will return again in another hour if you wish. I will read more scripture and bring more small images. For now, I close the book with a hand that is steady. I tuck the page gently beneath the pillow of thought. My voice slips to a whisper. My presence grows still. One finale blessing now. Spoken simply. I bless you with forgiveness that comes quietly. May it find the places you cannot reach. May it soften edges and free the hands. I bless you with grace that arrives in plain things, a warm drink, a neighbor's call, a quiet hour. May grace make room for you. I bless you with peace that settles like an evening tide. May it draw back the sharpness and lay a calm hand across the brow. May you rest in the knowledge that you are held tonight. May that holding feel like steady wood beneath a slow hand. May it be certain enough for the sleep to come. May your dreams be spared unnecessary weight. May morning find you softer and a little more able to stand. I leave a final quiet wish with you. When the world wakes and tasks call, carry one gentle memory from this hour. Keep it as a talisman. Let it be the first thing you place on your mind when the day begins. A memory of being seen. A memory of a candle at the bedside. A memory of someone who read words aloud so you could sleep. Now breathe with me one last time. Inhale slowly. Hold. Exhale and let the room take you. Let muscles go. Let thoughts rest. I watch the slow retreat of thought like a tide. I am present for this leaving. I keep the lamp in the imagination where it will not be needed again until morning. Good night. Rest in forgiveness. Rest in grace. Rest in peace. You are held. You are not alone. When light returns, the world will ask for steps. For now, sleep is the work. Let it do its work. I will be here again. If you wish to read and to keep watch, for tonight, sleep well.